All right, guys, welcome to your first challenge, sorta. This is a little bit difficult, so I'll walk you through it as well. Okay, what is the challenge? I'm giving you a Star Wars API. You're gonna make a fetch request, get their information, get the first three people, and then fill in all their information right here. Don't worry about the HTML or the CSS. Those will be provided for you. All you have to worry about is your JavaScript. Okay? All right, let's take a look at the API. This is called Swappy. You can get there by swappy.dev. And right here are the important parts. So we're looking for people. If you just type people by itself and you click request, it'll take a while. Then it returns an object. This is your response body. Tells you there's 82 people. First one, Luke Skywalker. Second one, C3PO. We only want the first three people. So Luke Skywalker, C3PO, and whoever the third one is. After you get the body response back, fill in the name. Name should say Luke Skywalker. Okay. Now, the hardest part is the name of the first film made. All right. Because once you get the body returned, you'll see that it's an array with links to different films made, but I want the name of the first film, okay? So try your best to figure that out. Pause the video, and I'll walk you through this soon. All right, hope that wasn't too crazy for you. Let's get started. So when we do this fetch, what do we get in return? We're gonna get a response, but it will be in streams, bytes, strings, blah, blah, blah. What do we need to do to it? We need to res.json. Okay, so now it's converted back to a JavaScript object. Then I'll call this people object, and let's console.log it. There's 82. We open it up. There's the results. There's 10 people. We only want the first three. How do we do that? Well, instead of this, let's just do const first three is equal to what? How do we get the first three? Well, the whole thing people object, that's this whole object. So we start with that. Then we use dot notation to access the results array. So dot results. Now, how do we get the first three? Well, we can do dot results, dot slice. And slice, we're starting from the 0 index. And we're going to go to the third one, but not including it. So 0, 1, and 2, that will give us the first three right here. And then let me just console log that. First three people. First three. First three people. Yep, we got it. Okay, let's do the name. How do we get the name of the first person? Well, here's what we can do. Let me take away this first. We can do something like first three at 0. That will give us the first one, right? At 0 gives us an object, and we have to access the name property. Dot name. Okay, so that's how we would get that. But how would we put this right here next to the name? Well, let's see. We go to index.html. I gave this a class of name1, and I'll be nice and I'll put it on all of the names. Name2 and name3. Now remember, for height, skin color, and all of this, I would recommend you putting a class or an ID, or if you really want to, you can use compound CSS selectors, but that's kind of hard. Okay, so I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to select the first person, document.query selector, and I think it was person 1. Let's check. No, name 1. Don't forget the dot. And then we're going to set its text content plus or equal to this name. Why do we need the plus? Because the text content had the word name in it, and we want to keep that. We just want to add on, okay? And actually, we should also add an empty space. Okay, so now, whoops, we don't need this. And then you can see now the name, it says Luke Skywalker. Okay, and then you can do the same thing here for name 2 and name 3. And yes, I know you can also create a loop to do that. You should try that by yourself. Okay, so all of these are pretty straightforward, the gender, the skin color, stuff like that. I want to look at how we can get the name of the first film. Okay, so const right here, people object, let's do console.log people object. Now, if we look at each person, right, they have a films array. But that films array does not give us the name of the first film. So first, let's get access to their first film array. Okay. So we can do const and then first person first film. And what is this going to equal to? Well, it's going to equal to people object dot results at 0, because that's going to give us the first person, right? Dot films at 0. Now we can console.log first person film. And this is the link to the film. But how do we get that? Well, we can do something like this. We can return first person first film. Okay. Now, when we return the first person first film, that means we get access to it in the next dot then. Okay. But it's not going to have access to this one, or will it? Well, let's see. Console.log. Now, you see that there's a blank right here. Let me see if that works. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, it works. Okay, so now we have that. What do we do? Instead of console.logging it, think about what else we can do. Well, why don't we just fetch it, right? And yes, you can use a fetch inside of a then. It doesn't really matter. Fetch, what are we going to fetch in? We're going to fetch this thing. All right. And then after we get that, so after every fetch, we know the server will return a response. I'm going to put this then right here. Then we get a response. Remember, we have to .json it. Okay. So after we got the JSON, then we get real data. Let's console.log it first. In the real data, we see we now have the title called A New Hope. Okay. So this would be real data.title. So now what we can do, we can take this whole thing. Instead of name 1, let's call it film 1. And I gotta put it in here too. Class film-1. So now that we have that, we're gonna select the film-1. Its text content is gonna be plus equal to what? Real data is this whole object, but we only want the title. So real data dot title. Okay. Now we have the name Luke Skywalker, and we have A New Hope. Okay. And I guess these can move a little bit back like this. Now you see with fetch in conjunction with promises. And yes, fetch is actually just a promise underneath the hood, and they gave it the name fetch, right? You can continuously chain all of these thens. And inside of these thens, you can fetch other API endpoints, okay? So you can keep on going in just one fetch. Isn't that cool? All right, good job, guys. Let's keep going.